Hello and welcome to Commit to Find You Healthy from UK International Health Coaching Association. My name's Ines Kerr, and today I'm delighted to welcome Helen Tudor to talk to us about her own commitment to find you healthy. Hi, Helen.
Hi, Ines. Thank you very much for having me. Very
You're
excited.
very welcome. Thank you for taking the time. Now, Helen, we've got a wide-ranging audience, and I know you have a massive following, but for those few people that might not have heard of you, could you just start maybe by telling us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do?
Okay, so I'm sure there's many people that have never heard of me. So I'm Helen Tudor. I was Helen Pritchard, and I am most famous for helping business owners get leads from LinkedIn. And that's kind of my thing. But I'm an entrepreneur. I've built and scaled multiple six-figure businesses, made seven figures in revenue from this business, and now I help coach and mentor other businesses so they can get their businesses growing and scaling, whether on LinkedIn and elsewhere. I've got four children. They are 12, 14, 17 and 18. I've got multiple businesses, recently remarried last couple of years. He's got two businesses. I've got multiple businesses. So we are what's known as busy.
So listen, you don't need to answer this question, but how do you find any time for doing anything other than all of that?
Oh,
So
big time.
now, I think as you're aware, Helen, because you've done some work for us, which is how we connected, we're promoting health creation. And we know there's a lot of pressure on the NHS around health creation as opposed to curing illness. However, we all know that changing behavior can be really difficult. Now, I was interested because you recently shared your personal achievement of running 5K in 30 minutes. And from the post that you put, it felt like that was a bit of a milestone. So maybe you could tell us why that was so significant to you.
Oh, it was Ines. It was so huge for me. It was so huge for me that challenge that I undertook. So, like I said, I've helped businesses for the last 20 years. I've been in the business world and I feel very confident in that sort of business space. But when it comes to fitness and exercise, I was so out of my depth. So the reason why I had to specifically run 30 minutes, do a 5K in 30 minutes was for my brown belt in kickboxing. So I've kickboxed for many years. It's how I de-stress. It's how I take time out. It's how I make sure I've not got my phone on me or kids anywhere. Or there's something it's a spiritual awakening to be trying to not get hit in the face. I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about targets. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm thinking about defense or attack. So I absolutely adore kickboxing. And as I've gone up through the ranks over the years, you get to the top really, which is brown advanced, and then ultimately black. So I'm right at this sort of pinnacle of the learning and everything. So I'm skilled as a kickboxer, but as part of that, I have to be able to be as fit as you should be at that level as a kickboxer. So it's all about cardio, it's all about fitness, it's all about being able to spar. So you do a lot of skipping, and then as you get towards the top, you start to build in running. Now you're expected to run 3 times a week. And to get your brown belt, you have to show in the gym that you can run 5K in 30 minutes. Now, this is fast for me. It feels so fast, and it felt like an impossible task. And I had to really dig deep into all of my resilience, all of my own kind of self-confidence, self-talk, self-motivation, all the stuff that I do for business owners, like it's a process, just follow the process, and emotionally detached. But it was such a mind game for me. And it was a real journey of like self-awareness, because there's something so, I don't know, it's like this extreme vulnerability of trying to do something that your body and your brain is saying don't do, right? So I
Every
really,
sinew in your body is saying no.
yeah, everything in your body is saying don't, just stop, it's fine. Like, to listen to yourself trying to talk yourself out of doing something that you've committed to only 20 minutes ago is such a weird thing for me, because I'm so into like goal setting and achieving and celebrating wins and stuff like that I was like, I remember once I got to about 22 minutes and I just stopped, and I don't even know why I stopped, and I just sat on my treadmill and just cried, because I was like, why did I do that? Why did I allow my mind to stop? Because my body could do it. Once you can run 10 minutes, 15 minutes at that speed, you can run 30 minutes. But it was such a massive thing. And I had to do it I did it at home on my own Peloton, but I also had to do it in the gym in front of other people. And it was just such a mind game. Anyway, long story short, I really ground it out and I looked for all the shortcuts and there weren't any. I looked for all the hacks and the tips and the tricks and I couldn't find any. I called on all of my fitness coaches that I know, and they all gave me the same advice, which was really, you can do it. You've just got to do it. And that feeling of nobody can do this for me. Because again, I'm such an advocate of outsourcing everything, right? In my business, I was like, nobody can do this for me. Anyway, so I did it, and I'm very pleased to say that now, like yesterday, for example, I got on my treadmill and I ran 30 minutes, did 5K in 30 minutes. But the bad news is, so all of the joy of reaching that goal, getting my brown belt, which was a 2-hour, 3-hour kind of stress test as well, and board break and sparring and skills like display and stuff. To get that was such an amazing achievement. I got a trophy as well, which I was thrilled about, because I've not had a trophy since 1989 when I won the under 10s girls singles tennis final, and there's only 2 of us in it. But anyway, that's my only trophy all my life. And I'm surrounded by sports people. So like my dad's really sporty, my husband's really sporty. They don't even have their trophies out. They've got that many of them. But I've got this one shield that I've had since 1989 that's always pride of place. So I did that, and it was such a great moment for me, and it was such a big achievement because it was like a personal fitness goal that I'd hit. But the bad news is that to get brown belt advanced, I've got to run 10K in an hour. So just more of the same, grinding it out, adding on my time. So, but it's just been absolutely fantastic. Like I love it. I would say I'm a runner now. I enjoy running.
Well, I was going to ask you, so, our Find Your Healthy campaign is about inspiring people to maybe experience something that they haven't done before and that is different to them. So, and your story is very inspiring. So thank you. But I'm guessing, based on what you've just said then, is running now your go-to?
It's so addictive, honestly. I've got a very addictive nature anyway, and I can feel like this is like my thing now. Like I'm excited to get up, get on my gear. Top tip for any ladies listening: 2 sports bras at once. This is the top tip. This was game changing for me, because I was wearing one sports bra and that was doing nothing, but 2 at once, I was like, oh, this is great. So now I'm like, I'm happy to get up, get all my gear on. I mean, I'm lucky, very privileged. I've got a Peloton in my basement. It's got Netflix built in. So literally I can just run and watch something that I'm into, or whatever, some kind of murder TV or some American like cult thing that I'm watching. So very lucky. And I also live in a beautiful area. I don't run outside a lot at the moment, although I will do, but it's just such it's meditative. It's a challenge every time. Even now, I must have run that. Once you've hit it once, it's easier, obviously, because mentally you've broken through your own 4-minute mile, your own. But even now at 23, 24 minutes, I've still got 6 minutes to go. I'm still grinding them out. So it's not become easy. It's still challenging, but because I know it's doable. And I still message my kickboxing coach every time I get off that treadmill. And I said to him, like, do I need to keep sending it to you? Like, or is it like you're just like, oh, I'm sick of it? He's like, no, I want to see this more than anything, because I know how hard you found it to get to that. So to do it 3 times a week, I would say, yeah, I'm a runner, I guess. I run 15K at least a week, but I'm budging it up now. So I did 32 minutes yesterday. So
And Helen,
minutes seems a long way away.
having experienced all of that and kind of put yourself through all that, what impact would you say that has had, or you expect to have, on your overall health and well-being?
Oh, it's absolutely huge, because setting yourself a goal that feels impossible, then hitting it, and then being able to do that and do it. And really, when people around you are getting sick of hearing it, no one really wants to hear about you running. You want to tell everyone, but nobody really wants to hear, apart from my coach. It's such a self-discipline that you can apply that to everything in your life. And for me, I feel like fitness was the final frontier. It was almost like, I've got a great business, I've got a great family, I've got a lovely husband now, single for a long time. And like everything's great, but I just hadn't really nailed the cardio fitness side of things. I was still out of breath, running around, with the dog, or running around after the kids, or running for a bus. Not like I get many buses, but you know what I mean. I was never felt like I was fit, and my husband's sporty, so he plays a lot of sport, and he's obviously quite fit. But I've never been sporty. I was never sporty at school. I always wagged off. Didn't do the cross country. Just go for a fag. Like I've never done a team sport. So it's just not been in my life. And I think now with kickboxing particularly is like my thing, but like the running is something that's really just for me, and it's really made a big difference, and it just makes me see that it's
a,
this,
a different dimension. Now,
yeah,
you mentioned in there, you mentioned about your coach, and I think that's your kickboxing coach. But
yeah.
maybe would you mind just telling us what kind of benefits or support, coach, because we are the UK International Health Coaching Association. Now, I know your coach is not a health coach, but lots of people probably haven't experienced, working with a coach. Maybe you could just say a few words about that, Helen.
Yeah, so I cannot even explain how important it is. I don't he's my kickboxing coach. He's a sports coach, but I think he's more like a life coach and a therapist. I see him 3 times a week. I talk to him more than I probably talk to anyone else. He's seen me at my weakest moments where he's seen me in tears, he's seen me trying to get, when I used to run in the gym, and he'd be teaching another class, but I'd be running, and as soon as it got to like 20 minutes, he'd come over and I'd be like, I can't do this, I can't do it. And he'd be stood next thing. He's like, if you can say you can't do it, that means you can do it. Because if you really couldn't do it, you won't be able to speak and stuff like that. And I used to get really mad at him, and I'd be sulking with him, and I'd go out and I'd cry in the car. And I'd say to Stu, I'm so sick of him. He's like, he just won't listen to me. And there's got to be a better way of doing this. And all these other running coaches tell me I've got to do long runs and short runs. And I actually said to him today, because I had a PT session. So the knock-on effect as well has been that I've gone to the gym because want to build up my muscles, and my kickboxing's got better, and the running's got better, and all the rest of it. And I've signed up for a 10K at the end of the year. So there's lots of other benefits to it. Yeah, it's like, it's just, it gets you, doesn't it? And then once you're on the other side, you're like,
It's a virtual spiral.
yeah, exactly. It's like, well, I can't. I even said to my coach Craig, I said, I can't believe people who don't exercise. Like, what must that feel like? But I know what that felt like. So that was me for years. But now I couldn't even imagine it. But yes, having a coach, and I said to Craig, I said, oh, the PT in the gym says I should be doing long runs and shorter runs because that's how all the runners do it. Slow runs, sorry, and long. He said, that is your slow run. He said, you're not some fat housewife, you're an athlete. And I just thought, wow, like if someone had told me, like 34-year-old me, that 44-year-old me would be considered an athlete, I just blew. That was only today. That makes me want to like cry thinking about it, because I was like, I guess I kind of am. I kickbox to a high level, I run at a decent speed, and now I'm starting weightlifting. I'm like, this is all a revelation for me at 44. It really is.
Well, actually, it's really interesting because it kind of resonates in the industry, which is the sort of the physical activity, health and fitness clubs, etc. There's a campaign called "This Girl Can." You may or may not see.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
because it's about the fact that teenage girls become disengaged. They pick up on relationships, and smoking and all of that becomes more important. And it sounds very much like that was the teenage Helen. And
teenage Helen was not doing
and
anything.
here you are. Here you are. So you're also a role model for This Girl Can. So
I think that's where your coach comes in, though, because my coach, when I said to my coach, I said, oh, you must be sick of me like complaining and moaning and saying I don't want to do it anymore. And I'd said to Stu, my husband, a couple of times, I think I'm just going to give it up because I just can't do it. And he said, I've seen it. He's been coaching for 30 years. He said, I've seen everybody's the same. This is normal. Everybody thinks they can't do it, and they can do it as long as they stick with it. And having somebody else believe in you is like absolutely priceless, like so important. And that's not just sports coaching, I'm sure that's health coaching, life coaching. I'm a business coach. It's so important, that accountability. If I'm working with somebody, the accountability and the investment, it just makes you so much more motivated and so much more like, you just got no excuses. Well, you've got excuses, but you've got someone there to say that's just an excuse and get on with it. So important to have a coach in every area of your life. But health, I think, has got health coaching and fitness coaching is not about the health and fitness at all. It's so much deeper than that, so much more important than that. And it's so important that people have got the right person to help them with it. And I think you'll know if they're the right person, if that makes sense.
Well, thank you. That segues perfectly into my kind of closing comment, which is, well, firstly, to thank Helen Tudor for sharing her insights and experiences. And also just to say, if you want to find out more about Find Your Healthy campaign, you can go to our website, which is ukihca.com. and click on the events tab there. But also, if you're interested from what Helen has already said there, thank you, about learning more about health coaching, on our website, you can find a health coach in our directory. So Helen, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure speaking to you today, and yeah, we wish you very well.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.